According to the interview, a fresh political battle is unfolding ahead of the 2027. And this time, the issue is not simply about political parties, it is about two major figures who have shared power, fought battle together, disagreed, reconciled, and then found themselves on opposite side again. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, and now Kenneth Okonkwo, a former spokesman for the Labour Party presidential campaign, is making a very serious argument. He believes what he is seeing is not just another disagreement between two old political associates. He believes there is a deliberate political effort to weaken Atiku Abubakar ahead of the 2027. That is a very serious claim. And before anybody dismisses it as another political argument, let us walk through what Kenneth Okonkwo actually said, because his argument is built around history, opposition politics, the 2027 election, and the relationship between Atiku and Obasanjo. The first thing we need to understand is where this whole controversy started. According to the interview, Atiku's media aide Paul Ibe had earlier made an allegation that President Bola Tinubu had approached former President Obasanjo and that Obasanjo was working together, preventing Atiku from becoming president in the 2027. That allegation, of course, is political, and it should be treated as an allegation unless evidence is presented to establish it. But politically, the claim is easy to understand. If Atiku becomes the candidate around whom the opposition unites, it becomes a major challenger to the ruling party. So the question becomes very simple. Who benefits if the opposition remain divided? That is where Kenneth Okonkwo's argument begins to take shape. He says he initially believed Obasanjo genuinely wanted political change. And this is important because Kenneth Okonkwo was not speaking from the position of somebody who had always opposed Obasanjo. He reminded the interviewer that he was part of Peter Obi's presidential campaign in 2023. At that time, Obasanjo openly supported the obedience movement. Kenneth Okonkwo says that when Obasanjo supported them, he genuinely believed the former president meant well. He believes Obasanjo wanted power to return to the South and that the endorsement was part of a sincere political position. But according to Kenneth, something changed after the election. He said he began seeing Obasanjo appearing at events associated with the current administration and wearing the renewed hope cap. Now let us pause here. This is where political perception becomes important. A politician's public appearance does not automatically prove an alliance. A former president can attend government events without becoming a member of the ruling party. A former president can speak with the president without supporting everything the government does. So we must be careful not to turn appearance into proof. But Kenneth Okonkwo's argument is not actually about the cap. His argument is about political direction. He is asking if Obasanjo truly wants the incumbent removed in 2027, why would he support or encourage different opposition figures to move in different direction instead of helping to unite the opposition? And this is probably one of the strongest questions raised in the entire interview, because elections are not won simply because people dislike the government. Opposition parties have to organize, they have to build structure, they have to agree on candidates, they have to manage egos, they have to manage regional interests, and most importantly, they have to avoid splitting their own votes. This is where the ADC coalition becomes important in Kenneth Okonkwo's argument. He says opposition politicians has come together under the ADC platform because they understand that defeating an incumbent requires cooperation, and it makes it clear that from his perspective, he no longer sees himself simply as Atiku Abubakar's spokesperson. He sees himself as spokesperson for whoever actually emerged as the presidential candidate of the coalition. That statement is politically significant. Why? Because it shows that Kenneth Okonkwo is trying to present the opposition coalition as bigger than one individual. This is not simply Atiku versus Tinubu. This is about building a platform capable of challenging the ruling party. And if that is the strategy, then division becomes a serious problem. Now, Kenneth Okonkwo made a very strong statement. He says that anybody who leaves the opposition coalition and work outside it is in the effort helping Tinubu. This is clearly his political interpretation. It should not be treated as an established fact. A politician can leave a coalition for many reasons. He could believe the coalition is wrong. It could be strategic disagreement. It could be personal ambition. It could believe another platform has a better chance. But Kenneth's calculation is understandable. If several opposition politicians divide the anti-government votes, the ruling party may benefit. And this is not a new problem in Nigerian politics. Opposition fragmentation has always been a major issue. People may agree that they want change, but they may disagree about who should lead that change. And once that happens, the opposition can spend more time fighting itself than challenging the government. Now, Kenneth Okonkwo brings Atiku and Obasanjo personal history into the discussion. And this is where the interview becomes much deeper. There is no ordinary feud between the two men. According to him, Obasanjo has made a deliberate political decision against Atiku's presidential ambition. Kenneth points to Obasanjo's reported statement that he would not support Atiku becoming president. That statement is extremely important because it changes the way people can interpret their relationship. If two politicians simply disagree on policies, that is one thing. But if an elder statesman has openly said he will not support the other person's presidential ambition, then naturally people will ask why. What happened between them? And has the disagreement from their earlier years now become part of the 2027 political calculation? Kenneth answers is yes. He believes the disagreement goes back much further than 2027. And this is where he brings up the controversy surrounding Gali Ama. According to Kenneth Okonkwo, Obasanjo has accused or associated Atiku with effort to remove him from office. Kenneth challenged the logic of that argument. His question is simple. If Obasanjo believed Atiku was capable of financing or supporting efforts to remove him, why did Obasanjo later choose Atiku as his vice president? That is a powerful political question because political relationships are often complicated. People can distrust each other and still work together. People can disagree, still form alliances because of political necessity. But Kenneth Okonkwo is asking us to examine the contradiction. If Atiku was supposedly such a threat to Obasanjo, why did Obasanjo rely on him politically? However, we should also be careful. Historical political claim should ideally be examined through documentary evidence, not through personal recollection. So Kenneth's account gives us a political interpretation of the history. It does not mean every detail has automatically been established simply because he said it. So whether one agrees with Kenneth Okonkwo completely or not, he has raised a question that the opposition cannot ignore. What happened when opposition politicians allow their personal disagreement to divide the movement for political change? That question will become increasingly important as 2027 approaches. And perhaps the most important question of all is this: can Atiku, Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, Amechi, and the other opposition figure put aside personal ambition long enough to build a coalition capable of seriously challenging the incumbents? Because if they cannot, then the opposition may defeat itself before Nigeria even gets the chance to decide. But if they can find common ground, present a credible candidate, build a strong structure, and speak directly to the problem Nigerians face, and then 2027 could become a very different political contest. And that is why we should watch this development carefully. Not just because Obasanjo and Atiku have history, not just because Kenneth Okonkwo is making strong accusation, but because behind all of this is a much bigger political struggle over who will control the opposition, who will eventually present the strongest alternative to the Nigerian people in 2027. The battle is already begun, and the question Nigeria should be asking is simple: who is fighting for who? The question is, who is preparing to lead Nigeria? Because when the political drama finally ends, the Nigerian people will still be here. They will still be looking for jobs. They will still be looking for security. They will still be looking for a better economy. They will still be waiting for leaders that can turn political promises into real results. And that is where the 2027 battle will be decided. Guys, what are your thoughts? Drop it in the comment section. For more political stories and breakdown, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged. See you in the next video. Peace out.